Okay, so got the screw out and you can see the hole there. Later on you will want to be putting that screw back through here into the holes that are there, and the new arm will have a hole in there as well that the screw goes into. Okay, so now I'm going to take the bottom pole out and I'm going to put the umbrella right into my lower stand. So I don't know what kind of a stand you have, but this one, it works well like this, and I'll show you because we're going to flip the cover off of the umbrella frame now. So I'm going to pause. Before we lower the whole umbrella though, we're going to undo all the clips because you want the screen down. So undo all the clips and then turn the crank to lower the screen all down. Okay, so the screen is lowered, the screws are out, and you want to take the arms out of these little pockets on the ones that that you unscrewed. And then we're going to take the bottom pole and drop the whole umbrella right into the stand. Okay, so this is what it looks like with just the top half of the umbrella in a stand and the screen all lowered, and the arms are loose. So now what I'm going to do is find a door where you had the panel, and we're going to take this whole thing and flip it over the top with the finial removed. We're going to flip it over the top so it just falls over the other side, because we need to access this. There's some screws underneath this canopy and we need to take the arm off. Okay, so this is what it looks like, all naked without a cover on it, and I just have the cover laying on the ground behind it. I'm going to pretend like this is the broken arm that we're going to replace, and assuming that all your cords are okay, you have to find the cord for the arm that you're going to replace, and at the bottom of that cord will be the weight. We're going to remove this weight so we can pull the cord back through, because we're going to use the same cord, just put it down the new arm. Okay, so I just pulled the cord right back out from all the cord guides, and there it is loose. So now what our next thing is, we're going to need to loosen these 4 screws, and then there's 4 up here also. So right now we're going to turn the crank a little bit so that we still have a little tension on this. I'll still have a little tension on the cord that lifts the umbrella. Okay, so I am standing on a stepladder. I've loosened these 4 screws. You want to start at the top, and what we're going to do is here's the arm I'm going to replace. We're going to carefully lift this, so this is the only arm that comes out. We're going to take it out, we'll put the new one in, and then we're going to put these screws in before, well, wait a minute. We're going to take this out, we're going to put the cap back on, then we'll take the bottom one out, and then we'll put the new one in. So I'll try and do this one-handed. I've loosened these screws. This comes right off. And then just carefully lift this guy, and you'll see there's a little hinge in there. Let that come down. And now we do want to tighten a couple of these screws to hold all of these arms in place while we work on the lower one. So I'm just gonna just snug down 2 screws. Also keep in mind that both this one and the lower one have a key. This little thing sticking up here goes into a hole that's hard to see, but there's a hole in the bottom here, right over here where my pinky is across, and they have to line up. That's how it goes in. So now we're going to take those the 4 screws off there. I have a long bit on my drill, which kind of helps get in there. But I'm going to take these off with this cord still being at least slightly taut. Okay, so notice I've got this one arm sticking off on the side here. That's the one that we took off from the top. I have now loosened all the 4 screws on this bottom piece here, while keeping this cord still a little tight. The reason you want to keep that tight is that when you take this apart, all of these guys want to pop out, and that's kind of tricky to put them all back in together, but you know, it's doable. So I want this thing to just about be tight, and then you can lift this. I lowered this down so it's just about tight. You can lift this and just easily and gently pull this guy out, which is really hard to do one-handed. Okay. And then close that up a little bit just so that these don't come loose. And I need 2 hands to put it back in, but I'm going to put the new one back in. The bottom, I'm sorry. We're going to go back up to the top now, and we're going to put the top one in first. So we will need to take the 2 screws out from the top. Before we do that, we're going to tighten 2 of these screws so that this doesn't come off. So we just took the bottom pole out, the bottom of the arm out. We're going to now tighten this back up. Okay, so I'm back up at the top, and let me put this thing back in. Unscrew. I loosened this back off, and my new arm just drops right into this hole, just like that. I'm going to put the top one on, and then I'm going to tighten all 4 of the screws up before we start working down below. But I got to go find all my screws now. Okay, this guy's all back together. All these 4 screws are in. This hinge is in place, and now we're going to go down below. Again, keeping this kind of taut and keeping it about that. You don't want it much more open than this either, otherwise when you take that apart, those are all going to pop out. So, you know, right around there. And loosening the 2 screws, that I had down here before. Okay, I don't think I can do this one-handed, but put the hinge pin back in. Put the hinge pin back in, and we're going to just want to slightly open this up just enough to slide this back into place, and you may need to work it just a little bit, but this will then clamp down, close, and you might need to kind of work some of the other ones. But you clamp that down and then screw these 4 screws tight. Okay, new arm is in. Hinges are all in good, and the covers are on tight. Now we're going to take the cover. This might be helpful to have somebody to give you a little assistance. We're going to take the cover and flip it back over, onto the umbrella, and then we'll put the bottom pole back in and put the top part of it back into the bottom hole before we start assembling the cover back into place. You just want to make sure that you have the correct pocket for each arm, right? Because you still have these cords that were coming out. They have to line up to the right. They have to line up to the right seam. So once you get it on, we'll open it up and make sure that it's lined up. So we're gonna put the cover back on the frame. Okay, cover is back on. I'm not putting the finial on the top just yet, in case we wind up having to rotate the cover around to line the cords back up with the right poles. So now I'm gonna pick it up, put the bottom pole into the stand, and put the umbrella back into the bottom pole. Okay, I hope it's not too dark in here, but you'll see I don't have it open, the umbrella opened up all the way. Just open it up slightly because you don't want to start sticking the arms through. And we want to make sure that you have the right pockets lined up, because the pockets are attached to the umbrella, to the screen, and we want to make sure you have the right cord going into the right arm. And once you have that, then set each of the pockets into the hole, except for your new one, because it does not have the bottom piece on yet. You're going to have to put that on, and we still have to run the cord through. You'll see here's our new arm. It doesn't have a bottom piece on here yet, and it doesn't have these cord guides in. They came with the kit to fix it, and now we're going to feed this cord through those cord guides and then through the pole. So get the little black cord guides that came with the kit, and it's like a pick tool for pulling the cord out of the hole. All right, so I am back on the step ladder, and boy, this is harder than one-handed. But I've got the cord here, and I'm going to feed it through one of these black bushings into the fat end first. If you can see that, okay? So it's going to go like that. And then I'm going to take this end of the cord, put it through the top hole, and then I'm going to push it through the top hole, and I'm going to pick it out of that hole once I feed it down. Okay, so you see the cord is coming out the bottom. Take this pick tool. Oops. And pull it through the hole. Then we're going to take the other bushing. It has to go in that way. So, I can't do this one-handed. Hold on. Okay, so then line the ears up on the, so that they're up and down of the bushing, and pop it in. Same thing with the top bushing. Oops, let's pull this cord all the way tight or down. And then our top bushing is here. We're gonna line the ears up so they go up and down the pole and pop that in there. Okay? Next thing is to put all the arms into the correct pockets and open the umbrella all the way up. Wait, before we do that, we need to put the plastic piece into the bottom of the arm. There's the plastic piece. You're probably gonna have to get a hammer or a screwdriver or something and jam it up in there. All right, now we're gonna put all the arms into the correct pockets and put the screws into the back into the arms through the pocket.